Alright, so this is going to be part 4 to what if Deku was Taskmaster. So with that being said, let's just roll the intro. Alright, so before we get started, I'd like to say a few announcements. First being that the third episode of One Season Run is going to be out pretty soon, and it's going to be on Classroom of the Elite. So if you want to watch that before the review comes out, go do so, because I'm going to be talking about some spoilers for the season. So if you haven't watched it already, and if you don't want to like get spoiled, I guess you could go and watch the series and watch my review afterwards, I guess. And I'm gonna start doing this thing in my reviews, like a day or a few days before I release the review. I'm gonna actually have a different intro for each episode, and I'm gonna tell you guys the artist. And if someone in the comment section actually knows the song or guesses the song, I'm actually gonna give that person a shout out. So yeah, it's probably gonna either be on my Discord or my community tab. And if one person gets it, then I'm gonna basically give that person a shout out in the review and things like that. So yeah, next thing is that I'm actually gonna do explaining the kind of quirks and backstories of the OCs or the students that are in Class 1E for UA Year 1. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's basically my original series that I'm working on with a bunch of people from Discord. So yeah, I'll have a link in the description for the first episode, and you guys can go watch it if you haven't already. And yeah, I'm gonna have a video about describing all the quirks and the backstories for each character if they have some. And then after that, I'll probably do episode 4 of that series. So yeah, so with that being out of the way, we can actually get into the what if. So in the last part, we actually got done with the USJ. So in this one, we're gonna go over some of the some over the kind of sports festival, right? So we would begin a little bit after the USJ attack, right? And this is when they're in the class. So Aizawa would tell the students that there's actually going to be a sports festival, and it's going to be this kind of competition between all the classes, or all the first year classes, and each higher class after that has like their own version. So it's basically going to give the opportunity for students who do well. They're going to get internships from different heroes, and they better think hard about what internship they want, because a lot of people end up regretting their internship because they wasted it. So he tells everyone to do their best and to think hard about this, because it's going to affect their future. So after this was done, Deku would think a lot about how he what internship he should go to, since he doesn't really have too much trouble mastering things. So he's thinking of heroes that have very unique fighting styles that he could go to that he hasn't already copied, right? Because there are some heroes who don't really have that much like coverage over them. People like what's it called, Aizawa. He's like not in the press that often because he likes to not get a lot of attention. So there isn't much about him. So he's thinking about this, right? And at lunch, All Might would take him to the teacher's lounge and explain the importance of the sports festival, and how he's gonna actually have to fight one for all, or all for one, basically, and explaining that he's probably not gonna be there for that when that day happens, right? But I think Deku would have enough confidence to say that he'd be able to defeat him, and this would really reassure All Might because of that. So we would get to the training, right? So Deku, he doesn't do any special training really. He doesn't even train for most of the week. What he does is he watches everyone else train, right? And he looks at how they fight, right? And he does this across all of the classes. Those who are training, that would include 1A and 1B, as well as the other classes such as the support class that are going to be in it, and also the general studies. So he would just look at how people are training, so he could know how their fighting style is and what they're doing to train. So what he would normally do is just a lot of strength training, just strengthening his body and his kind of durability, like he would normally do throughout that kind of like how he's been doing throughout his kind of life at this point. So at this, he would also look at some old kind of All Might clips and see how he would like fight in certain ways, like more of the unique styles that he does, like the shock waves that he does with his fists and things like that. Since he has to kind of see different ways he could use his quirk one for all. So yeah, and also, since his body is so well, like it has a lot of muscles and strength, he could easily use 100% of one for all in this what if. So yeah, so the day would come, and Deku, I don't think he would be the one that actually gets to say the speech in this one. This would actually go to Bakugo, since he got number 1, I believe. But I don't remember if I made Deku get number 1 in this series. I'm pretty sure it was Bakugo. So Bakugo would say that speech, and he would be talking about how it's kind of useless for everyone else to be here since he's gonna win and things like that. The crowd would boo and Ito would get mad at him. Deku would be smiling since he knows that Bakugo is kind of mad at this point because he really doesn't like him. But in this one, I'm pretty sure they kind of have this rivalry between each other. I don't remember too much because it has been a long time since I did this one. And then Deku and Todoroki would still have that conversation between each other about how Todoroki's going to beat him because he's a lot stronger in his mind, and he wants to be the number 1 hero. This without using his like dad's quirk, I guess. And Deku, being kind of confident and that kind of cocky attitude, he'd be like, "I'd like to see what you could do," right? Basically inviting inviting him to try his best against him, implying that he can't beat him no matter what. So this would continue, and Bakugo would join the conversation about how they're both wrong and that how he's gonna win. And then we get back to the speech. He says it, and then we get started with the actual kind of obstacle race. So in this one, people would still get kind of jammed in the kind of gateway, and Deku would be kind of in a kind of sprinting position before the timer starts. And when it does, he would start running, and he would see that there would be so many people there, and he would have to be forced to do a long jump over them, which he'd be able to do with the help of One For All and his I guess he wouldn't need One For All for this one, because what he could do is he could use the sides of the gateway, the wall, to kind of spring him above everyone, just how Stain can do in some during the fight. So he'd be pretty easy for him to get over. And then after that, that's when he would activate One For All. So he would basically, what he would do is just continue running faster and faster. And because of this, he would be very, he'd be the fastest, since no one at this point in terms of the students can really match up to the speed. Maybe Ito with reciprocal burst, but that's kind of it. So this is when Deku actually gets to the minefield. So he kind of what he does is he stops right before he gets to it, and he's far ahead of everyone else, right? So everyone else is kind of dealing with the 0-pointers at that point, and he's near the finish line. So what Deku does is that he uses 100% smash to basically make use a shockwave to detonate the bombs in front of him, or the landmines. And it explodes in this giant explosion, and people look at it and they're like, what's going on? What was that explosion? And when the dust clears, you can see Deku basically, he cleared out this kind of he basically made such a kind of not crater, but he made a pathway with that shockwave just from one punch. So after that was done, he gets back into a sprint and gets to the finish line pretty easily. But this also gives people the chance to follow him since he cleared a path. So this would give Ida a better way to get past everything since he wouldn't have the problem of exploding the bombs. So he'd be able to go at full speed. So I think in this one, Todoroki would get first place, and then Ida, or not Todoroki, Deku would get first place, then Todoroki would get second, and then Ida would get third, making Bakugo fourth. So this would mean that Todoroki and Ida could not be on the same team, forcing them to be in separate teams. So the teams would be similar to what they were in canon, but a little bit different since Ida is on a different team from everyone else. So I'm actually going to stop it here. This is a shorter video than usual, but I'll have a kind of longer part for the next part since it's going to go over the second part of the sports festival and then the stain fight. So yeah, if you haven't already, go watch UA Year 1, Episode 1. I'll have a link in the description. And if you want to help with the series, then you can go to my Discord. I'll have that in the link also. But if you want to get your OC in the series, then you gotta hurry because there aren't that many spots left. At least ones for active kind of roles, like the hero courses. Right now, we have 2 hero courses open, that being 1C and 1D, but those are quickly getting filled. And then we have some general studies and some support. So if you really want to get your OC or villain in the series, then you better hurry because we don't have that many spots left. So with that being said, also check out my 1 season run reviews. And yeah, with that being said, this is going to be the end of the video. So yeah.